Is the unnamed tavern named unnamed tavern? Is unnamed tavern named unnamed tavern, or is it a tavern that's not been named? So this was what India did prior to the summit. So should we talk
Uh-huh.
about what it did and then talk about the summit as well?
So
Yeah.
if I look through here, it says India's capital is pulling out all the stops to put its best face forward as it hosts leaders from around the world this weekend. So this was past, right? This was on September 8th. Right, an army of government workers is rounding up stray dogs, scaring away hungry monkeys, and evicting some of New Delhi's poorest residents by bulldozing their dwellings. And I think there we start to see running into problems. The annual summit of the Group of 20 Economies is the largest gathering of world leaders ever in New Delhi, with attendees including President Joe Biden.
New Delhi.
It's called New
Okay,
Delhi.
thank you.
I what?
Don't ask me to pronounce. I barely pronounce English. With attendees including.
It's actually New Delhi, and because obviously
Delhi?
British happened, so they call it New Delhi. So it's like it's Delhi,
New Delhi?
not Delhi.
Delhi?
Delhi.
Delhi?
The
But where's the
Delhi.
old one?
Huh?
Where's the old one? Where's the old one?
Boo this
What
man.
Where's Old Delhi?
Old Delhi. Ah, okay.
Yeah,
There
well,
is
if this
one.
one's the new
Is
one.
there?
Yeah,
There's
where
one.
is it? I want to know where.
You gotta look at the map.
Where is
I
it?
don't know.
I don't want to look at a map. I just want someone to tell me. I don't want to do work.
They ornamented the roads with hundreds of thousands of lush flowers potted on freshly painted pavements. What they will not see are the hundreds of thousands of people who've been displaced, or the slums that have been flattened or obscured by temporary fences bearing the G20 summit's logo and photos of the Prime Minister.
Yep.
Their hopes
So-
that the beautification project will help showcase the best of what the world's most populous country has to offer, further cementing its position on the global stage. I mean, I can understand the move, but that doesn't make it morally okay.
The thing is that all these moves are not fruitful enough because Delhi, if I may say, New Delhi, it has a problem.
No
pollution
person
problem.
actually from India. You're not allowed to tell us how to pronounce your fucking country names.
Use the
Aw.
British name like
I
God
thought I was
intended you
born
to.
there.
I
I take offense. Don't do that. No, just like I want to start spelling out things in Hindi now.
Oh no! All right, go on, Manya. Sorry, I just wanted to give you a little bit of trouble for asking if you dare say pronounce your country's name correctly. Go on.
Okay. So the thing is that Delhi has a problem with pollution, so much so that you can't see the sun properly.
Jeez.
It's always
Wow.
it's
Katie
always
Prime.
like it's like the sun is always in the setting mode, like it's going down. That's what it is. In the dusk mode, if I may dare say. So anything they do,
That's
is,
why
like,
it looks like that in all the movies.
Black and white.
That doesn't explain
Yeah.
why the whole country looks like that.
Sorry, go on.
Listen, you should know. You want to cuss in Hindi? I can cuss in Hindi.
Do it.
Do it.
It'll get us less likely to get.
Yeah. Yeah,
Never
that
mind,
sounded
guys.
hardcore, isn't it? It
does, it sounds great. Go on.
Yeah. So the pollution is the main problem. So any new painting they do, any new flowers and plants they put in, they're all gonna wither away because pollution, right? And also not to forget that we have massive garbage landfills around the city. One of the largest landfills is like right at the entrance when you go from my city towards Delhi. That's right there, and the smell is like, yeah. So, and then removing the stray dogs and stuff. In the article, it says that they are relocating them. I said bullshit. They're killing all of them.
Wow.
They don't have this.
Oh yeah,
they
with the
don't have
dogs. Oh, yeah,
resources to-
absolutely.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah,
relocate
those
them.
dogs are absolutely getting killed. Come on.
Yep.
That's
Yep. So
like,
so
even-
them trying to just yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, all the homes they're bulldozing down now. They have allowed them to stay there for quite some time. People live there, their children live there, their children go to school from those dwellings, people go to work from those dwellings and come back home. So and they don't have anywhere to go. They come to Delhi because they're looking for employment from other. They come from other regions to Delhi because it's the capital of India. So you find a lot of opportunities for employment. So they come from other cities and other states, and they don't have anywhere to live. So where they live, they set up a dwelling where they can find some land. Obviously, it's the government's land, but where else do you expect them to go? Yeah, there are conspiracy theories. Yeah, they have been provided with cheap housing. They always sell it or put it on, what do you say? Put it on rent and go back to living, in the slums. I don't believe that. I don't believe that personally. I've not seen examples of that enough to believe. There might be some, there are some bad actors everywhere, and they might tend to do that. But overall, people want to live in a good environment, especially for their kids, for their children. They do, because it matters where you are, living, because the schools will zone you accordingly, and that's how you end up getting admission in the local public or government
Wait,
schools.
are you saying that people aren't bad parents just because of poverty? That doesn't just turn them into bad parents? There's actually like
Yeah.
constraints on their actions that limits the ways in which they can help their children?
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're just really bad parents.
They're bad parents because they're poor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a moral failing, and we should all
Yeah.
That's what the
wag our
Puritans
fingers at
told
them.
us. The Puritans
true,
told
that
us
is
that
what the-
God, yeah, the God blesses the righteous, and if you're not blessed, you must be bad.
Yeah, because they decided to take Job out of the entire canon, apparently. There's ignore that bit.
So
So
Not important.
pedantic pedestrian has raised a very good point. If you look into how much of a boondoggle recycling is in the West, much of the recyclables are just transferred to countries like India, China, and the Philippines, and it is simply placed in landfills. That's correct. So now what recently India started doing, it has started returning the ships back. They're like, we don't want it. Take it back. Because now India is
Yeah.
realizing that in the long term, it's not good for their population, for their environment, and yada, yada, yada.
Not sustainable.
So, and continuing with that, what India, as any party that has been in power or in the government in India, has a history of taking for granted its people. I don't know, is it because of the size of population we have? I don't know. Our human resources have always been like given the lowest tier of priority ever, because in the past the same thing has been done before when they have been building dams, clearing out farmlands and farmers from those areas without giving them appropriate compensation and a location to relocate to. Tribes, the local tribes, again, for factories, for highways, for dams, and all these government, public or government funded infrastructure, they don't provide enough compensation, and no relocation, no relocating services to these people. And it's been going on forever. It's like it's been carried on from like I might dare say from the British Empire, that this whole thing, we have adopted their bureaucracy, we have adopted their education system, we have adopted their language, and we have also adopted their way of ruling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
so
even kept the king.
it's a repeat. Yeah, it's a repeat. So yeah, they can superficially like doll up everything, but in the background, every diplomat that came to this summit knows what the real picture is. And it's sad that they think like that beautification and all that for temporary purposes will, somehow like make their image better. But when we know what the problems are, we have got some really, like India has got some really good pointers at international level, but there are human rights and human resource problems at the same time. So this is like, this whole exercise in my opinion was fruitless. Yeah, there will be some people who are very dedicated to their country, India, and they'll come at me and say, no, it's actually good, better than nothing, blah blah blah. You can have that opinion if you want. I have my opinion.
That
Yeah.
just sounds like India is great because it's not the worst it possibly could be, which is, one, probably true. It's probably not the worst it could possibly be, but like, that's not a good argument as to why your country's doing well. If the best argument you have is like, yeah, but look how much worse it could be. Like, well,
but Dapper,
And
the Americans have done that, used that argument for many years. Why can't India?
I mean, some of them have, but they're also
Canada uses that argument with
Yeah.
America as the example. It's one of the most annoying things that I've found so frustrating when it comes to Canadian politics. It's just so many people are just like, yeah, but it could be worse. We're not American. It's like, God damn it. Siggy, who's been a member for 1 month, thank you so much. Congratulations on your 1 month. Yay. I then proceeded to gift 20 memberships. One to
Yay,
Alex, one to Smitty, Katina, Landon got one. Trail
Yay.
Mix, Robert, Sig, Rodent got one, Dave McGinnis, who hopefully he's doing well. He may or may not actually be in the chat right now. They've got a hurricane over in his area, so hopefully he's doing good.
Okay.
John, Katina. Oh no, sorry, Katina said something. Sorry, I thought it was like Katina again. Al Capone. Ashton McDoodle, the Judge of Levels, TM, Captain KD, Kelbell, Rena Rue, Mysterious Mermaid and the and the Missing Shill, Queen Necra the Second, Sugomi, Landon again because he typed something. You stop typing
Landon
things
said
while I'm trying to
thank
read these. And Siggy then for 666 said, just throwing a super chat to share that I got blocked on Shitter by Steve McRae for calling him out again for his transphobia and his complete lack of intellectual honesty. A day to rejoice. Hail Sagan.
I bow to you,
Nice.
sir. I bow to you.
Well, congratulations, Siggy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I
Super
think
chat,
I'm still
your
That's
not.
a
generosity and your
great
gifts.
achievement.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
I'm still
And,
not blocked by Steve, and I'm not sure why, because it's not like I've been like.
You're a bro.
I mean, granted-
That's why.
Well, okay, maybe that is it, but like, it's not like I go around like talking about him very much because I don't really care. But like,
That's
it's not
why.
like it's a secret
Neither do I.
that maybe that is. But yeah, it's not like it's a secret that I'm like, when it comes to
Are
the
you
Steve Chesh
secretly-
thing, I'm on
Are
Chesh's
you
side. Like
secretly-
that's not a.
Dapper, are you secretly cheating with Steve on me? Are you doing that?
No.
The real
The last
drama.
time I
All right,
talked to
back to the
Steve-
topic. Back to the topic.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
care about the last time you talked to Steve.
So, continuing on that, the apathy
was over
that
a year
we-
ago.
That. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I can accommodate that. Okay.
I'll show you my DMs.
Okay.
Go on, Manya. What do you got?
So yeah, there's this like level of apathy that's becoming more significant amongst the population of India, where people who can afford to survive and stay alive and remain above the middle class income and above the poverty line have complete apathy towards people who are below the poverty line. And in recent, I think the last 1 decade, they have also shifted the poverty line even down lower for some reason. And this whole apathy was even more highlighted during COVID, when my own family said, Manya, a few 100,000 people are going to die anyway, so we can't do anything about it. And I'm just like, what? My own
Yikes.
family said that. My own family said that.
I mean, it is
Boy.
probably true that there's going to be a significant death toll no matter what, but that's not a good excuse to just not try to lower it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
So,
yeah, that's end of my rant.
so there were a couple of things, the G20 summit that was interesting. One of them was that they decided to make it a G21 by giving the Organization of African States a membership, right? So that the various African states that get together, that they appoint an entity to be the spokesperson for Africa in now would be the G21. So that was kind of a significant thing, and it was a required unanimous vote. The other thing was that essentially the leaders of both Russia and the Chinese Communist Party declined to show up, and that was considered to be significant. Some things did get accomplished.
Maybe it's really a G19.
or G18.
Oh,
Right?
are
It
we
was a
down to
G18
18
at the
actually?
time,
Is this a
or 20
countdown?
minus 2.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, but I was then adding the one for like the Africa thing. Yeah, okay. You know what?
Yeah.
Math, everybody.
G20 minus 2 plus 1 is it, but that's for the next summit, right? But still, there was discussions going on in there. There were various communiques that were done regarding the Cold War on Ukraine, and as usual stuff, it didn't satisfy the pro-Ukraine folks, that it didn't go so hard as to condemn Russia. On the other hand, again, there are countries that are effectively try to be neutral about it, who don't want to be anti or pro, and so you had to kind of satisfy that kind of a set. So to assume that the G20 was going to go in and say, Russia bad, Putin bad, was naive. On the other hand, they did communicate some very things that I think Ukraine could have been happy about.
They have to be a little bit tactful. Anytime you're doing any kind of global politics, even local politics, you need to, even your workplace, you need to be a little bit tactful, because you don't know what's going to happen and you do not want to unnecessarily alienate people. Now, does that mean that some people deserve to be alienated? Yes, but you also don't want to give someone like Putin additional firepower by being, basically by being uncouth at like what would be a general meeting. Like, you don't need to kick under the table or kick below the belt, and it's usually
Good use
better.
of uncouth.
Yeah, thank you. It's a little bit better when it's I shouldn't say better. It's just more standard to keep your general opinions to your fucking self during those kinds of meetings, because that's not really, you're not there to sit around and talk shit. You're there to do what's best for your people in conjunction with the other people at the table who you've agreed.
That's why I'm not invited, because I would be there just to talk shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean they don't all go around and talk shit? Absolutely not. That happens not during the meeting. That's when they all have their little get-togethers. That's why Trump was such a joke at the Paris Accords, and everybody just fucking ignored him.
Yeah.
Because after that table meeting was over, everybody was just standing around talking and being like, "Fuck that guy."
I mean, I'm probably also
even
not
though, for
qualified
example,
because my economy isn't big enough, so
the
if my economy were bigger, I have a Patreon, everybody.
Well, back to the thing
if enough people donate to my Patreon, my economy will be big enough to get into the G20. Come on, let's make it happen.
No.
3 billion patrons. Let's do it.
So back to the G20 summit, and for example, what happened with Africa. There's an initiative to try to get various countries to positively invest in Africa rather than being exploitative. So that was some of the things that came out. Another thing regarding the war in Ukraine, that no one expected the G20 to say Putin's a war criminal and he's bad and should be ashamed. They did do a lot of statements about Ukrainian sovereignty. And
that is
and
those are the same thing, right? In this type of scenario, them doing that is them condemning Russia. They just have to do it indirectly because they have again, this is something that these are also things that are going to go down in history, right? These things are going to be documented, meaning that they do not want and cannot do things so directly that somebody in the future could look at this and then say, like, see, this is why Russia failed. We need to take over the world. Stuff like that. Like, we can never join again because blah, 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 blah. They just can't do stuff like that. Another
thing that happened was with regard to India, right? It is true that India has been, at a period of time, a more significant trading partner of Russia that people have been displeased on. But what occurred was, rather than simply say, well, India needs to fall in line, is that India was consulted and they had discussions of various groups. And what they basically arranged with India to say, hi, what if we trade with you rather than you trading with Russia on that thing, right? There's a number of things that happen in quid pro quo, treating India as a member of the G20 rather than you just have to fall in line because we say so. And that was done. Now, people like the Biden
administration. That's what I was like. They treated another country like they're equals and not like, beneath them or something. Oh my God, that worked?
Yes, and one of the things in particular, you look at some of the trade stuff, you see that India has significantly reduced their oil intake from Russia and other things like that because of cooperation, right? That's just how you do that, even though it doesn't satisfy the hardliner frustration thing.
Look,
It did
if you don't
accomplish
have
some
a
good
permanent seat on the UN Security Council, are you really a country?
Oh.
It's just one of those things where it's like it's a little it's one of those things where people are like, well, war is bad, but then they don't like that that the rhetoric coming out of the UN is so soft, when it's actually not as soft as you think it is. So it's one of those things where, like, for example, like when we talk about any kind of legalese, and we're talking about what a judge has said, where it's just like, yeah, if you said it at the bar, it would be meaningless, but a judge at this level to have said this to this person, suddenly it's just what they said was actually massively escalated.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just context, essentially.
And yes, I am in fact here as an agent of chaos. Because I'll be honest, I didn't prepare, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go in and just cause a ruckus. And you know what? I did. Plus, again, get a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, and we'll consider you a real country. You know, you can
I would think that the Soviet Union has a permanent seat, but Russia has been sitting in the Soviet Union seat. And people might
I will agree. Yeah. The Russian Federation does not have a permanent seat on the UN Council. Security Council. Change my mind. Go ahead.
Make that meme.
So think of seats and councils.
We should give Taiwan a permanent seat on the UN Security Council because, you know, they were a part of World War II. They were not on the losing side, and also that's the real government of China.
Oh. Sure. Well, you could have a one China policy as long as you have a one Taiwan policy as well.
That seems fair.
No.
That sounds fair.
Taiwan is currently the capital of China because that's where the legitimate government fled to after the communist takeover. I'm saying, elect me in 2024, and I will close diplomatic relations with the Chinese Communist Party and open them with Taiwan.
I am curious about like what that would look like from like an economic standpoint. But we can talk about that another time.
Gigantic clusterfuck.
It
would
be
a
such a
disaster.
clusterfuck.
But Dapper, you're about 150 million years old, as we established.
Yeah.
And the United States was not a country 150 million years ago, and the Constitution requires the president to be a native born. So are you native?
But you see, it actually has a clause saying that if you were born in territory that became the United States before it was the United States, you do count as a native-born citizen.
Okay.
So problem solved. Yeah. Because that was a problem for like George Washington and like the first few presidents, right? It was like, well, you weren't born in the United States. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to have to make up like a little exception for people who were born before 1776. Because, we got to have someone as a president. We can't have babies.
We can't have babies. As if that's definitely not who's sitting in the House seats right now.
Okay, literal babies.
They are babies to
literal babies. Well, yeah, but like they're not actually like infant stage ontologically,
Yeah.
And there is a name called the baby caucus nickname for those that behave like small children.
Baby caucus.
I like it.
All right.